Welcome, welcome, welcome to Leadershipisation, all things leadership. I'm Beth Bergen. I'm a global leadership and communication coach, and I am here on this platform live most Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. A real challenge that comes up all the time, not only for me, but probably for you, and certainly for many of my coaching clients and many in my friend network, is time management. It's really funny because the weird thing is that some tasks actually expand. They expand to fit the time available that we've got for their completion. And this is the topic that's been coming up so much with my coaching clients over the last few weeks. You know, if we have a week to finish something, then just like magic, it's amazing. Just like magic, it takes a week to complete it. In plain terms, if you give yourself a week to complete a 2-hour task, it will take a week. I'll say that again because it's actually a bit mind-blowing. In plain terms, if you give yourself a week to finish a 2-hour task, it will actually take you a week to do. But mind-blowing, yeah? And that isn't because the task grew. It wasn't because the 2-hour task suddenly became a week-long task. It's actually because you let it. The time was managing you rather than you managing the time. Now, all of this information is wrapped up in a law that's called Parkinsons Law. And what Parkinsons Law says is that the task will grow to fit the time that's available to do it in. Who came up with Parkinson's Law? An actual guy. He was a naval historian and a writer, and his name was Cyril Parkinson. Not, Cyril, not that Cyril, but actually Cyril Parkinson. And he initially talked about this issue in what was kind of like a satirical essay that he wrote around about 1955. And he got so much positive response about it. It really landed. It really resonated with so many people that Cyril then went on to write a book about it. And how did Cyril come up with this? Well, because Cyril had been working in the public sector, he based a lot of his observations on the huge inefficiencies in bureaucracies, particularly those he was familiar with, which was government and military institutions. And in his book, he actually talks about another quite fabulous and quite famous example, which is that the more people, what he talked about was that the number of people in a bureaucracy increases regardless of the amount of actual work. And his observation was that the reason that the people in the bureaucracy increase was because people create work for each other. So the more people we have on a task, the more work we create for each other, and the longer the task actually takes. The work expands because of human behavior, because of social dynamics, and because of there's a lack of constraints there. So I love Parkinson's Law because it shows up everywhere. It shows up on projects that you might be doing. It shows up in the replies to emails that we do. It shows up in how long it takes to pack a bag to go away for the weekend. It shows up all over the place. Have you ever noticed when you're packing a bag, if you're packing a bag to go on holiday, some people start packing a whole week out. I find that quite astonishing because I pack depending on what time I'm leaving in the morning, I pack, within 12, 14 hours of actually going. Parkinson's Law is why deadlines work. Parkinson's Law is exactly why deadlines work. Like, we're talking about holidays, we're talking about packing bags. How often have you got super productive right before you're going on a holiday? It's kind of like you're bouncing around doing all sorts of things because you know you're not going to be there for a couple of weeks. So now that you know about Parkinson's Law, let's take a look at how you can beat it. What we mean here is that how can you use Parkinson's Law to serve you? How can you find ways to break or beat Parkinson's Law? Now, it comes down to this. Tasks become much more complex the longer we draw them out. Yeah? They become much more complex as we draw them out. However, the more time you give something, the less effort is actually needed. The more time you give something, the less effort is actually needed. So the flip side of that is the less time you give something, the more effort is needed. So if you've got 2 hours to do it and you're putting it, you're graphing it, and this is your time, this is your effort, and that's your time, it's going to be a really steep bell curve. If you're giving it more time, it's much flatter. And actually, it might be a series of little bumps because you're getting distracted doing other things. You're giving it the time to take longer. The extra time is often because you spend time worrying about the task instead of starting the task and getting on with it. Like, once you start, you need to be thinking about how much you need to do. And when we have a week out here, we start the task and our focus becomes on, oh, how much time have we got to finish it? Oh, I've got a week to do this. In order to manage your time and to make Parkinson's Law work for you, we need a mind shift to how long is it actually going to take? How long will the task actually take? Because what we're doing is we actually end up making the task seem much longer. We make it seem like it will take longer than it really does. And when we focus on how much time we have, when we focus on that week, in our mind, we just expect the task to actually fill up all of that time. Yeah? When we focus on how much time we have, we expect the task to fill up all of that time. Because we expect it to, it does. Yeah? Coming back to that mind blown. It takes a little bit to get your head around Parkinson's Law. Let's talk then about how we can actually beat this. Like, we want to make this work for us. We know we give it too much time and it's going to automatically take us longer. It fills up the gap. So the first thing that you can do is this. Intentionally limit the time that you allocate to specific tasks. So don't give it a week. Say, I'll get back to you in a week. Say, I'll get back in 3 days. Say, I'll get back to you later today. I was talking with a coaching client this morning, and one of the things that we focused on around managing his time a whole heap better was do those, what I call silly little vitally important things, those 2-minute tasks, do them now. Get them done. Get them out of the way. Because otherwise they're the things that kind of pile up and get shifted from day to day to day. So that was our first one. Intentionally limit the time you allocate to tasks. The second one is this. and this can be a little harder to do. I want you to look at ways that you can avoid rework and unnecessary effort. How can you avoid that rework, that redoing of things, and that unnecessary effort? Compress the task into a shorter time frame. Third thing is plan your time with really good deadlines. Put the deadlines in there for yourself. Work to that and make sure that what you're doing is putting those into your calendar. Now, when you've got a larger project, it's a great idea to set some smaller targets and to track the progress of the project so that you can pull it in if you need to. The fifth one is this: have a really clear understanding of the task, a really clear understanding of the task, so that you can then kind of match on and be working around, well, how long realistically is it going to take? Now, when we think about how long realistically the task is going to take, that's not about looking at your diary and going, I've got a busy day here, or probably won't be able to get to it that day, or maybe, oh, I could do it but this day, and oh, a week later I could do something else. When you're working out how long realistically it will take, just think about the actual task itself, because it may be that what you see as something that's going to take you 4 days to do could come down to 4 half days, and you may well be able to find them quickly in your calendar so that you can get the task completed. The reason that this is so important is because it will avoid you, as I've just shown in the example, it will avoid you expanding the task. Many tasks would be completed if we simply found a 2 or 3 hour spot in our diary and stuck with it. Find that spot and see if you can stick with it. Now, what I know is that you get on top of this, you start doing these kinds of things, and it will make a huge difference to the way that you manage time and a huge difference to your productivity. So the sixth thing for us to look at here is prioritizing. I know there's always urgent things that are coming at us. However, what I also know is that it's way too easy for us to be reacting all the time. It's way too easy for us to be pushed by those things that we think are urgent or that others think are urgent. It's important that you prioritize, and that you prioritize based on how important things are. Some things that are considered by others to be urgent aren't important to you at all. Feels good though, doesn't it? Because like you're helping people, and that's nice. You feel, yeah, I've helped all these people, but I didn't get any of my own work done. So what's really important is that you prioritize with the most important tasks to be done first. Yeah. Final thing here is chunk down tasks. Remember earlier I was saying, you know, what you think might take 4 days could very easily be 4 half days. By chunking the task down, you're going to be able to make progress. By chunking the task down and setting deadlines for each task, or as I said earlier, deadlines for each target, what you're actually doing is you're creating a framework for effective work and for speeding up the actual process. because rather than being overwhelmed with, oh, it's a huge task, how am I ever going to get through this, and not knowing where to start, chunk it down, work with that bit. Chunk it down, work with the next bit. Yeah? These are all really proven ways that you can actually be beating Parkinson's Law. So a task for you to go away with is this. Have a go. Halve the amount of time that you give yourself for doing a task. I dare you, go on, halve it, because that's where the magic is going to happen. Based on Parkinson's Law, we're all allowing probably way too much time to do some tasks that we could do much quicker, which would result in you getting home earlier, you getting to spend more time with your family, all of those kinds of things. Yeah? All of those things that are important to you. Time management is a really important leadership intelligence tool. And we dig really deeply into that in my Leadership and Communication Accelerator program. I've got the next intake of that happening really soon. So if you want more time spent on identifying really good strategies and building the habit of managing your time instead of your time managing you, reach out. I'm happy to have a conversation with you. In the meantime, thank you for being here today. If you've got questions or comments, pop them on the platform that you're watching this on. If you're watching it as a replay, I'd love it if you put hashtag replay. Just gives us an idea of who's there watching things. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'll see you next week. Bye now.